So guys, as we wrap things up on this Friday Eve edition of the Now Morning Show, we're technically revisiting a conversation we started with the actual creators. We were talking to the Teen Creators Academy actual attendees. And this morning, the founder of the Teen Creators Academy, Lisa Wickham, joins us, along with Floyd Solomon, entrepreneur and Teen Creator Academy parent. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, everybody.
I know that this is going to be tough for you, Lisa, because with the academy in full swing, there's no sleep, there's no rest.
Yes,
and I'm wondering if the same is for the parents as well, because the students expressed how hands-on everything was, how much they were involved, how much they were enjoying it. But I feel like you all behind the scenes were just as involved, yes?
Talk to Floyd because he could talk about his experience, especially the night before the gala, correct?
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And even preceding the gala, my son Levi, who was here on the show, Levi Solomon, who was here a couple of weeks ago, I remember leading up to finishing their films, he had a couple long nights. So I was there calling him every couple hours, could I come yet and pick you up, could I come yet? And eventually I was there the next morning at Teen Creators Academy to pick him up. So I was telling Lisa, I'm glad he had that experience because it really helped him answer the question, am I interested in film or am I committed to film?
Meanwhile, when he came here, he talked about it as if he had been a veteran.
Yes.
You know, so many years ago and experience there.
But you know, I think the main thing though is that it really wasn't about film and about creating content. I was adamant that I wanted it to be about resilience, about character building, about integrity, about seeing people. They met Mr. Carlton, who is like our favorite now, and he is the watchman by day. And then we found out that he was the projectionist for Globe for 30 years. So they went and they spoke to him and understand that everyone has a story. You know, it's about legacy, about understanding that TTT, this building, means more than just watching TV. What it means as the first broadcast national media, especially in this week, right? So it was really about that, and then the idea was to children love content and so on. So they'll get that. They could get that on YouTube, but it was really about the things that I got out of QRC Scouts, that whole idea of about learning, about being a good citizen, you know, about responsibility. That is what the TCA was really about. And the films, of course, was the byproduct.
I was just going to say,
the films was the byproduct.
Probably translated through the films that they actually created, some of which are not just going to be shared with us here in Trinbago, but across the globe. Tell me a little bit more as to how that will roll out for the students before we get into more insight of their perspective.
Yeah, so right after I think it was your story, the TTT story, someone from PAF saw it and said, but Lisa, these films could show at the PAF Student Film Fest in February next year. And PAF is the Pan-African Film Festival, which of course is the largest and most prestigious Black film festival in the world. And so we were just so excited that we said, of course, our parents said, wait, I sent my child to 3 weeks. I'm so overwhelmed. How did this happen? I mean, Floyd, I don't know how you felt about it when you found out that, you know, 3 weeks and the films are going to PAF. So
yeah, it felt surreal. It was, you announced it at the graduation, and I couldn't believe it. I think the students were over themselves. They couldn't believe that, okay, we're in the streets of Trinidad and we're going to the streets of Hollywood.
Well, if we raise the funds, because we now have to raise the funds to ensure that everyone, the idea is to get everyone to go. So we've launched the fundraising today, actually. We launched a FundMe TNT. We're going to launch a GoFundMe for people outside and then have other activities to help raise the funds.
So in terms of timelines, for those who are ready to invest, what sort of time frame are we looking at to get to Hollywood?
Oh, it's February next year. But, you know, of course, you have to book all the things now to get the prices that you want to get. So you'll have to book, of course, the airfare and the accommodation, Airbnb, and so on. So as soon as possible, if people want to go on the GoFundMe, we could, we'll make it public, or they can DM us on, you know, Teen Creators Academy and so on, and find out, and we'll find out more about it.
Now, I know that means that people are already going to be wanting to register for the next influx. Is that starting to happen already? Do you have registration open?
They can email and find out. People have been, and we also have the TCA Saturdays, which I expect to see Levi there because he was an amazing writer, and the idea is to help the young people continue with their skills so that they, you know, we have the TCA Saturdays coming up in September where they can do writing and makeup and audio and, you know, other things on the Saturday, you know, with a little more in depth.
Now, Floyd, you mentioned that the actual experience has cemented the idea of actually working in film for Levi.
Yeah.
If you were to give advice to a parent whose child is considering it, or even as a parent looking for an outlet for their child, what would be your advice to them?
Yeah, I would tell them to ask their child, first of all, how passionate are you about this? You know, we tend to think of passion as the thing you love, but actually the root word and the meaning of it is something that you're willing to suffer for. And so what I love about TCA is that it wasn't just about creativity, it's character building. They learn passion. Passion gets you started, but perseverance helps you to finish.
Right.
And that drove, that through line was there from the start till the end.
You know, there was a day that electricity went from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. And we had no idea this was going to happen. And it was a day of filming. And it was Levi's group actually had to film.
Yes. This was the story you gave us on
Yes,
set.
that's true, yeah.
When we talked about, you know, back in the day. As a
No, but it was
so much
grueling,
experience.
because you can imagine that heat. And
Alone.
Alone, the
In
heat
addition
and
to
the
figuring
dripping.
out how to actually create
And what
it.
Micah didn't say is that she also fainted.
Oh, gosh,
right?
and Micah
No,
was
because listen to this. Let me tell you why this was important. She fainted. We were all there saying, let's call the mom, let's call. Eventually, we got her through and all of that. Of course, we have insurance, just saying. Parents, we have insurance.
Yeah. They were safe.
All right, we have insurance. But you know, when that child got up, she refused. She said, don't call my mom. I want to finish. I want to finish. And she stayed on, and, you know, so kudos to her. And the mom was like, yes, I love
That's my
it.
child.
You know, I love it.
And in that case, with just 2 minutes before we have to wrap things up this morning, because you know how to
But we're going to be
Lisa.
back, you know, because we have to come back.
Of course, especially in terms of preparing the children to head to Hollywood. But if you were to give a message to the persons who are considering how underdeveloped our film industry might be, or even the naysayers altogether that children can't necessarily accomplish what they clearly have, what would you say to them?
I would say that, you know, let's give our children every opportunity, and I say kudos to the parents, the TCA parents we call them, because they gave their children the opportunity and they allowed them to run. Just allow them to run. It doesn't matter where, but allow them to run, give them that freedom. I also want to say look out on Sunday, because the films are going to be premiering right here on TTT.
Fantastic.
Yes, you know, they're going to be we're going to give them the time.
I was just
think you
going to
might
say,
have the
we, of
time.
course, we'll have to tune in to
Yeah.
find out times and across social media as well.
I think it's at 4
But
o'clock.
on that note, it's going to be a great way to spend your independence,
Yeah,
making
the
sure that
three
you see the
films.
future
For sure.
show exactly our stories. We will find out more about that at a later date. As I said, we'll be back. But for now, let me take the opportunity to thank everybody that joined us this Friday Eve to make today's show a success. So on behalf of Raucous, the entire team here, myself, Ainka Will, we wish you a happy Thursday. Your news is at the top. Stay tuned to TTT and have a fantastic morning. Thank you, Lisa. Thank you, Floyd, and best of luck to the students.